So this fall I took grief and recovery class, and it was an emotional class. And one of the things that we had to do was we did it in Excel, but we had to list our pretty much what all has happened to our personal loss. That's what it was. And so what we had to do was list things that have happened to us since, birth to now. And so, sometimes you have challenging assignments where it's just because, like I mentioned in the technology class, it's because it's all new to me. It was all new to me. And so you're just starting at nothing, and then you're building up from that. So, but then other classes you have that's most difficult because it challenges you emotionally. And I believe that that class in general challenged me emotionally, and it helped me look at things that I probably have never looked at before. And as the personal loss thing that we had to do, we listed, like I said, everything that happened. It was hard because you don't want to always relive everything that's happened to you, and that's what I felt like I had to do. And of course, when you mention things that happen, it comes with the emotions that happened during that time too. So when I was a kid, there was a lot that happened to me. So I, having to list all that, and of course from now too, what I found myself doing was living through each event and what emotions happened during that certain event. So as far as a tough assignment, that was pretty tough. And it helps you see. It helped me see, though, like through my work now, how kids coming to me as what they're going through. Because if I looked through that personal loss, and I was that 11, 12-year-old kid, you couldn't tell. You wouldn't be able to tell what my list of things would be. But and I can see in my job right now that I would have those same kids that. We kind of know when some kids are going through some stuff, but it's those kids that you don't know what's going through things that we miss. And I think that's one take I got from that, is that I had that, and I was able to experience it, and I was able to relate it to my job in a way that to know that, okay, when I was going through all that as a kid, you wouldn't know. So there's kids coming today that going through stuff that we don't know. So it's not that we should treat kids differently in a lot of ways. I mean, we know that each child's different, but we should have a set of standards that adhere to all children where they feel safe and loved. And I guess that was what I gained from that, is a better understanding of what children today go through. So that is what I thought was pretty difficult. As far as was anything missing, I'll say no, because you were already emotionally charged from that class when when I had to do that, because we saw videos. Of course, it's a grief class, so it was a pretty sad thing. But I think it was good that I was able to explore my emotions, and I was built up to be able to handle it, to see movies and read things that people go through and how do we deal with it. So a lot of it was just personal. It was just a personal journey that I had to go through, and in the end, I think it helped me. Professionally, of course, I do. I believe that it gives me more compassion and more empathy as I go forward. But also, personally, maybe it challenged some of my emotions that needed to come out too. So So not only valuable as far as professionally, but just emotionally too. And it was, I think it was some of my best work simply because it was my most personal work. Because not only did we have to list what happened to us, we had to talk about the emotions that we experienced during that process. So sometimes you just want to put things behind you, and you don't ever want to look at them again. And so when someone asks you to bring that up, which I know that if it was that emotional for me and I needed to talk to somebody, I know that Dr. Bird would have been there. But it wasn't like that. It was just a way to look at that child in a different light. Maybe that's a good way to say it. So, and to explore those emotions and looking back and as another tool, just like I mentioned about the case, the consultation case as a tool. This is a tool too, because if to know how to release those emotions and why it's important, but also with that, the guidelines that she listed and the questions she asked, that would be a good tool for me to use with someone else and to ask the same questions about those emotions. Just simple talk about what have you been through, and then kind of go into it with the questions that she asked about it, and like what did we feel because this happened, things like that. So that's why I considered this one as one of my best artifacts, because it was raw, it was emotional, and it was a learning experience as far as for me personally and professionally.